Stan!
I'm on the porch.
Put the light on.
What?
Put the light on.
Oh, jeez. How's that?
Yeah, put the other one too.
Both?
It's dark. Thank you. I know exactly how 44's new accident law is going to bother me if it comes into being. I will not drive through 44. I will take every means to avoid driving through 44. The back road or through plains, but I will not drive through 44.
My God, what are the politicians doing in Mackinac? First, the cutting of an historic tree, and then the firing of young children whose parents did not vote for them. This is wrong and against our Constitution. This is worse than Russia. This is out of control.
The caller is absolutely right about the intersection at Empire and East Northampton Street in Wilkes-Barre. The tree blocking the light. I live at that intersection. I have called the city 4 times. They give me the runaround. The last time I called, they told me there is no tree crew, and they would get to it when they could.
On the methadone clinic that people are complaining about not being built, it will be built. But when one of the mayor's relatives or one of the county commissioner's relatives gets all strung out on heroin or coke, when their kids get on dope or strung out on heroin, then it will be built. Until then, they don't care about anyone else around here.
What is it with the borough of 44? They pick up our lawn debris maybe once a month in the summertime, if we're lucky. Today, we put out 2 boxes according to what we thought were their instructions. One was taken, one was not. Could you please find out what their requirements are, what they expect of us residents, and print it so we would know what they expect of us? It would make a lot of 44 residents very happy. Well, this is sickening. Klein said He could stop 3 people on Public Square and they wouldn't know where Moon Lake was. Well, let him take a trip. Let him get out from behind his desk and see the busloads of children that go out there in the summer months and see the looks on their faces as they walk around the lake. They are not politicians. They're just trying to get something out of life, which the politicians are trying to take away from us. Thank you.
Nothing. Nothing. A blight. Tom McGrory, on a Friday night, tears down another building in downtown Wilkes-Barre before his term is over. There will be no Wilkes-Barre as we know it. Wilkes-Barre will have absolutely no character. It will be more sterile than the inside of a car shop. You know where this government should go? Down to New York City, down in some of the ghetto down there, where all it is troublemakers and gangs, and picking on little women and children and old women and children. Same in Philadelphia, some of the ghetto down there. Get a hold of some of them, and I will bet you $100 when they know they're getting shot back at, they turn to cowards themselves.
I can tell it's winter time. The weather's getting colder. The water's freezing on the roads. Here in Larksville, here we are sliding in on our roads. Nobody cares. We have to stay in the house. We're stuck in our houses. The roads are all icy. We can't wait for the sun to come out and melt them. And there's our tax dollars driving up and down the hills, doing absolutely nothing, just riding around, but they won't put salt on our roads. To whom it may concern, the creek wall north of the Division Street Bridge in South Wilkes-Barre is collapsing. Someone needs to check on this.
I have at last seen the light. For over 70 years, I was under the illusion that socialism was evil and brought suffering and slavery to those subject to it. Now I see my fellow Americans can't wait to embrace this ideology. I say, bring it on. JFK was wrong. Ask not what you could do for your country. Ask what your country could do for you. Where the hell is my check? And while we're at it, how about a hooker and a bottle of Viagra? Harry Truman, I miss you, buddy. I'm sure you're in heaven. But at least you'll be spared the sight of Bill Clinton and his gang of geeks and liars. You're right, Steve. Neither political party deserves my vote. But I'm writing to your colleague, Tom Bigler. I want someone local to represent me in the Politburo. I would just like to know why it is taking so darn long to get the ballots back from overseas. When I was shipped overseas, it didn't take that long to ship me there. Intimidation. 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 The U.S. warmongers keep harping about Saddam Hussein and his chemical weapons. Everybody knows it will be the U.S. who will use neutron bombs of all sizes, knowing right well we can put people of any nation to sleep for as long as we want to, and without killing them. Well, it is no secret.
I like the pandas, and I think it is worth every penny to have them here. It's better than giving the money to Israel. I, too, would like to thank Governor Ridge for my $100 tax rebate. I spent it. Thank you.
Right now, we are just finishing one of the most beautiful seasons of the year, fall. The fall foliage, the leaves, absolutely beautiful. Speaking of leaves, I live between two homes. I don't have a tree. The neighbor to my right, neighbor to my left, they have trees. Guess where all the leaves are? Is it right or wrong of me to rake their leaves back into their yard? Now, they should be courteous that they should come and take their leaves from my yard. Who is right and who is wrong? Should they take them? Or should I rake their leaves? At my age, that is a hard task.
Believe me, nobody needs to make this county look stupid.
In the city of Nanticoke, there's nothing for kids to do. They ask why the kids get in trouble in Nanticoke. What do they expect them to do? There's no parks, no playgrounds. All it is bars and restaurants. There's nothing to do. Also, the Nanticoke School District likes to pick on certain kids. They only pick certain kids as their favorites. I'd like it stopped.
Hi. This is West Nanticoke calling. Last week, my husband and I broke down on the Lower Cross Valley at exit 2. We stood there at night trying to flag someone down to help us. As I stood there with my cane, as I am disabled, a lady from Macanaqua in a white Dodge Dynasty stopped. I'd like to thank her for her kindness. It was just so icy and so terrible at night in the darkness.
To the person who complained about the Russian cemetery and how it's so overgrown, you go to see your loved ones lying there in grass that is knee-high, trees grown out of tombstones and everything. When I was a kid, we took our grass cutter to the cemetery and cut the grass. If you don't like the way it looks right now, take your grass cutter to the cemetery and cut the grass.
The other day, I was confronted with road rage, and the raging person was me. There's too many cars. They cut in front of you, they cut you off, and they give you the finger. And I didn't respond to it, although I was so furious. I could have tore that other driver apart with my bare teeth. My neighbors are loud and noisy. I can't afford to go live somewhere where there's a lot of space to have peace and quiet and keep them away from me. And the police don't come every time you hear a loud radio or they give pool parties in the summer. They are the worst. And I paid a lot for my house. I made a mistake. I should have bought a smaller house out where I could buy up a lot of space around me and keep them away from me for peace and quiet. But it's getting worse and worse, and you can see it getting worse and worse, and it will continue to get worse until we do something about our population. Think about it. Do Luzerne County residents think we have friendly people here? Absolutely not. And if you want to see the most unfriendly area, come down here to the borough of Wyoming and see these neighbors who are nosy and nasty and rude and cranky. Then they would hightail it back to New Jersey, where they could lie on the beach in the sun.
Coal miner mentality. You know what it is? They were good, clean, loving people. Their houses were clean. Their clothes were clean. Their marriages lasted. They didn't have girlfriends around the corner. They didn't walk around like they were prostitutes, the women. This is what this generation is all about. Give me the coal miner mentality any day, if that is the way you want to look at it. Years ago, when I was born, my father had a job. It was a low-paying job, but then a lot of them were at that particular time. My mother raised my sister and me until we were old enough to be on our own for a half an hour or so after school until she got home from work. They both worked. When they needed a prescription, they paid for it. When they went to the doctor, if they went to the doctor, they paid for it. When they needed gasoline, they paid for it. When they needed Sunoco, they paid for it. When they needed clothes or other things, they paid for it. When they needed groceries, they never had a tight belt. And yet, their income was lower, I could assure you, than it is today. Now, people will say prices were lower in those days, but compared to what wages were, things were expensive in those days. And yet, nonetheless, they paid their way. Now, we've come full circle to a generation of people that says, oh, unless the government helps me, I can't make it. How did they pay their way years ago? Don't we have the best economy in history? What's happening?
I have reached the golden age, and I find out it's not all it's cracked up to be. My husband retired before me, and now that I have stayed home with him, this man does absolutely nothing. He sits on the porch all day. He expects me to cook all his meals, clean the house, and care for him like he was a convalescent, which he is not. Never goes nowhere. He sits there. Never have people over because he says, I don't like to talk to anybody anymore. He says, I don't have anything in common with anybody anymore. I'm ready to go back to work if this is what retirement is all about. I would like to ask your audience if anybody else has the same type of problem at home.
I was wondering if somebody could call in with locations of some places that have some really good and delicious chicken and biscuits. Hot dogs with sauce or hot dogs all the way?
For at least 4 years, I've been reading and hearing about a stamp dedicated to the miners. You know, that worked in the minefields in Pennsylvania and in other places. What's the big deal? They've got trees, they've got cars, they've got trucks, they've got birds. Don't these men deserve a little recognition? What's the delay? This is ridiculous. Where is our government at a time like this? I'm a miner's daughter. My father lost his life. Give him a break. Give him a stamp. Oh, can anybody help me? We've got thousands of ladybugs. You know, those little beetles that some nuts let loose on the public? There's thousands of them coming in our house. Please give me a suggestion.
Wilkes-Barre City Firemen, you don't need sleeping shirts and shorts. Sleep with your uniform and full gear on. This way, the air tank could serve as a pillow and eliminate the pillow. With your uniforms on, you could do without covers and sheets because you won't need any heat. This will save the taxpayers money. When the alarm goes off, you could save on response time because you are already dressed. I can't believe nobody thought of this idea before me. I sort of think of myself as being stupid. Maybe I would be a good union president or fire chief. Maybe you firemen should go out and get real jobs and be volunteers. That way, you won't have to kiss butt every election. 10-4. The reason your recycling stuff goes into the street is you don't stomp on the plastic bottles. Just push them together so they fit better in the barrel. That way they won't go rolling into the street. Read the instructions.
I'd like to know what's going on with the quality of your paper. Oh, I don't mean what's printed in the paper. I mean the paper you printed on. The ends roll up on me. It's very disturbing. It's been going on for about 3 or 4 days now. Oh, I hope you can get a better quality of paper pulp because this is very upsetting.
I got an application for a concealed weapons permit from the sheriff's office down the courthouse. One of the questions asked me if I'm of sound mind. Now, if I weren't, wouldn't I be the last to know?
Let us remember that if we share, there will always be enough. Would someone please tell that to the Irish Catholics? Would the paper please explain to them diversity? Diversity means every individual has the opportunity for public employment. To the Irish Catholics, it means only after they fill the position with their own ethnic culture, then diversity takes effect. They don't sing Polish songs on Christmas in the churches anymore. The Catholic religion is going downhill. There's never no Mass. You don't know what time to go to church. It's getting terrible anymore. What is the bishop doing? Let him open his eyes and see what is going on.
To revitalize downtown Wilkes-Barre, you must, first, build up the population base with permanent residents. Second, provide services for these people, like grocery stores, bakeries, and a variety of stores selling household goods. Third, develop a better transportation system, like a fleet of minivan buses. Fourth, locate some factories, machine shops, and small repair shops downtown. Fifth, develop the mountains in back of Sam's Club into a Swiss Alps type of attraction. These things will help develop the downtown of Wilkes-Barre. for you drivers in Wilkes-Barre or wherever you drive. Please do not go up a one-way street. You people are causing these accidents, and one day it will be fatal. Especially Lehigh Street. Please.
Error, error. Reading the salmon cake recipe in the Wednesday paper. You don't throw the salmon bones away. You crush them with your fingers. You crush them real fine and you leave them in the meat. That's where all the calcium is. Please don't throw the salmon bones away.
The state of Pennsylvania doesn't require us to do the math. This world of ours is turning into one big rush. The email could wait. The tractor trailers we drive have refrigeration on them. And the cheeseburgers will be 2 for the price of 1 next week also. Yes, I know the light turns 3 colors. And the advice you gave about turn signals, that's good advice.
I would just like to ask Savitsky's Garage on the corner of East Main and Washington Street in Miners Mills to please fix their clock. I miss it. I'm going crazy. I'm looking, and it's not there.
I see where the toxic material is covered up on the corner of Scott Street and Penn Ave. That material was piled there for 30 years when they took it out of Troy Tire. Now they spread it over the land. I don't know if they're going to see it or what, but that toxic material should have been taken to North Carolina.
Well, the big, brave hunters. Now they have this stuff in a bottle called dough in heat to lure the bucks in so they could shoot them. Well, no wonder they have heart attacks in the woods, the lazy, big-bellied, ugly creatures.
Reading about the fly ash problem in Hanover Township, I realize how lucky we are. We also have a fly ash dump. Red dust blowing around town as the trucks pass by. A stone quarry was blasting and open. Sewers with sewer swamps breeding mosquitoes. Hello, West Nile virus. Nobody cares.
The caller is right. When the Social Security checks come in, the lines at the bank are long. The direct deposit people are all down there, dragging their money out. And yes, the bars, the lottery sellers, the beer distributors, I know, I watch them. And then it tapers off till the end of the month, and then it waits. until the new checks come out. And these are the same people that are always complaining, "We want more. We want more."
This is for the man who came in here and asked to borrow my cart. I'm in the provincial towers in Wilkes-Barre. And then he stole it. Don't let me run into you on the street. I have a very good memory for faces. Don't let me see